Welcome everyone. I'm Alexander Michalcha, and today we have one of the industry leaders, Ted Schutte, co-founder of Schutte Digital Solutions. Welcome, Ted. How are you doing today?
Yeah, very good. Thank you very much, Alexander. Thank you for the kind introduction.
Awesome, and I'm excited to have you on the podcast today, and I'm sure you're going to be of great value for the audience. Now, before we dive in, could you give us a quick overview of what Schutte Digital Solutions does?
Yeah, of course. Well, I'll start from the beginning. It basically we're trying to modernize and digitalize the skiing experience, starting from right at the foundation, trying to give better technology and better software to the ski schools, and also giving, the rental, the booking systems, just redoing that whole market because at the moment it's quite bad, and just going in there with the latest and greatest technology, with the backing of AI to help produce the best product possible for these clients.
Okay, that's fascinating. And basically, what inspired you to create Shoes Digital Solutions? Was there a specific moment or experience that sparked this journey?
Yeah, well, I worked out there as a ski instructor, which you can see on the poster behind me, and it was an absolutely great experience. I was there for about 4 years, and I did all the Austrian courses, got up to Landers one. But all the way through those years, I noticed that there was a distinct lack of any appropriate technology in the sector. I mean, the computers were from 1998. The Wi-Fi was always terrible, and the booking system and all the sort of technology management, staff management, that kind of thing was all run on the WhatsApp group chat or something similar, and it was just never, up to scratch. So I said to Eric, my other co-founder, there's definitely a hole here in the market that we can really try and get in and try and get a good product there. And we worked together to try and make this thing happen, and that's how it started. So it's a father and son duo. We got the company all set up, and we're all ready to go. We're providing solutions efficiently and quickly to as many clients as we can in the area.
Okay, interesting things. But for example, if you are looking back, what would you wish you've done differently in those early days when you started?
Sure, I think the biggest thing for us was the use of artificial intelligence to get the product working and sort of tested quite quickly and efficiently. Because when we started, we didn't really utilize it to the best of its abilities with the deep research modes and things like that. And once, because obviously there's a lot of data involved with trying to get this project running. And my job beforehand, before being a ski instructor, was a data scientist. And in that field, we were constantly using artificial intelligence to sort of scan for sanctions and updates and this kind of thing. So to have that ability to use almost, I think the word they use a lot is agents, artificial agents running and sort of helping you out with a very small team to get these products going fast. To have these agents is just unbelievable. And that any other small technology companies that are starting out really try and utilize those agents as best you can because they're very valuable.
Okay, see. But for example, what specific problems are you seeing in the active sports industry that your platforms aim to solve?
Yeah, I mean the biggest one for me, as I said, I was a ski instructor there, was when people were trying to sign in and get into the lessons. We had to search through basically a manual database, and you had to do their name exactly right. You could not misspell their name at all. And for some people, maybe from sort of Romania and Poland and Russia and whatever else it might be, they had very complicated names to spell. So that took a very long time to try and get that done when it's
Yeah.
cold and raining or snowing with gloves on. And that was the first bit of irritation to try and cause this that to happen. But it was the real problem was just the general lack of technology understanding from the leadership of these ski schools, and obviously there's snowboarding and mountain biking involved there. It's not just skiing. The business is quite big there, but their technology is just is, I'd say, 10, 20 years behind easily. And so that we and when I say technology, I mean the hardware and the software. So not just the website, for example. It could be that their system that's hosting the website is on terrible hardware as well. So we went in there sort of with the full package to try and get these guys up and running and in a better shape.
Okay. And because you mentioned a lot about the AI, so how is AI being used in your platform to benefit ski schools, rafting companies, and other activity providers?
Sure. So as I said, we use the artificial agents or whatever artificial intelligence agents to assist us with coding, especially. That was the big thing, as it can sort of really quickly and efficiently help you debug and solve problems that maybe as a human you can't see very quickly. And we also have for a few companies that needed a new website or new branding, using that to, maybe we make a prototype design, and using the artificial intelligence to make, different prototypes that maybe are variations of our original idea. So they can see quickly, oh, maybe that we want to go down this route or this route, however they like it. And I think that's why we quite, as a quite a small company, we're very, very flexible depending on what they need. So, for example, we don't just provide a singular package with the ability of with the ability of artificial intelligence. We can provide loads of little smaller packages that they can pick and choose from to, solve their problems better.
Okay. And what are the key features of your platform that actually help these businesses increase their revenue?
Well, the big thing would be just having a smoother, user experience, because at the moment, I think the smoothest way to book a ski lesson would be to actually go in and call up the ski school and just still do it over the phone. And there was no GDPR there at all. I mean, everything was written on paper, bank details were on paper. It was a bit of a disaster. And so for everything like that, just to make it a bit more secure, to make payments go through quickly, that they can see an overview, what sells well for them, what can they push more in marketing, as well as quite niche areas of the business that aren't really exploited at the moment, such as you usually have around 1 to 5 instructors on standby every day. And when they're on standby, they're being paid half rate. So it's not expensive for the school, but they're there waiting in case people book a lesson, halfway through the day. But 9 times out of 10, no, I'd say 9 times out of 10, I'd say, 99 out of 100 times, you don't get that booking during the halfway through the day. So if you had the ability, the technology to say to people in the resort that you're in, "Hey, I have, for example, Ted here. He's available. You can book him for a private lesson, even if it's, you do 25% off." If they know about that deal, that there probably would be more sales. So to get rid of the people on standby and to give better user experience for the bookers, I think it's absolutely essential to get these ski schools their much needed revenue.
Okay, interesting approach. But for example, I have a curiosity by then. So, how do you address the fear of AI adoption that you've observed in this market?
Yeah, well, I think the big thing for the fear of AI is, full stack developers and things like this, that they're, scared that their jobs will be taken away. But you definitely have to still consider the approach that you have to start the projects these days quite with the code base, and you cannot, there's database management and all this is still part of it, and design is definitely still part of it. At least for now, I don't know how it will be in the future, but when you start a design with AI, sometimes it gets it completely wrong, or it doesn't do exactly what, if you make, I would like you to do this, it does what you've asked and
Yeah.
something else. And, you don't get exactly what you order every time. So the ability of a human to listen and sort of get exactly what you mean, and you can explain it to it in proper words and English, it's much more useful. So for people who are, developers and, people in charge of these tech companies, I think a good adoption of artificial intelligence is key, but you shouldn't rely on it because it won't, be there if it fails.
Right. Interesting. And walk us through how Shoe's digital solutions addresses these challenges. What makes your approach unique?
Well, I think it's our flexibility, because there are a few other companies in the sector, our competitors, but they're so big and quite cumbersome that they don't really move around quite swiftly to adopt new technologies. A lot of the time, maybe they're on old, as I said, old technology, and they see the new artificial intelligence, or they get a new booking system, but it takes them so long to adopt their current clients over to the new system that it just is, you're already
Yeah.
then years late from when that software had originally launched. So I think for us, being a smaller, startup company, our main selling point is that we can tailor to what, the client needs. We are very flexible. We can move around. For example, if you've already got a fantastic website or brand, amazing media and, social media stuff, management and design, that's fine, because we can then focus on the other bits that maybe you haven't got absolutely nailed. And I think that sets us apart from the other competitors in the area, because we are so, lightweight and able to mold ourselves into whatever the client might need.
Okay, okay, see. But for example, how do you bridge the gap between the online presence and the real world customer engagement?
Yeah, that's always the hard bit for these ski schools, because obviously there's only a certain number of ski schools in each resort, and, only a certain number of tourists go skiing every year. It's still quite a small sport compared to football or something like that. So the big thing, I think, for us is to make the system to make the system as simple as possible for the customer, to make it, in every language, to have it all translated, and that can all easily be done nowadays with modern technology. As the user comes in, if they are brand new to skiing, that you make it, with basic words that you can explain to them what they're going to get in the package, because I think a few of these systems are so complex and, difficult to understand. When a new customer comes in, they don't know what a ski radius is. They don't know what a boot din setting is. It's just giving you the customer an empty basket, or you maybe have an unfinished purchase reminder. Something like that is always very important, because a lot of people maybe go to all the different schools, they put in all their details, they get to the end of the purchase, and then they go, well, I'm going to try and see what the other school might offer. Is it a different price? Is there a
Yeah,
discount available? But for the schools at the moment, they don't have any, uh, they don't send a message on SMS, they don't send an email, to prompt them going, you haven't, purchased, you haven't checked out with this booking. Maybe you can throw in a discount, or maybe you can pick your instructor. That's something that we've been discussing in the past, that you can choose through a list of instructors, and you can maybe sort by language, by gender, whatever you want to do. So it's a little bit easier, because I know some people, maybe they have, two young kids. They much prefer having a young lady with them rather than an older ski instructor who's Austrian. It doesn't matter what people pick, but that having that option and availability is quite nice for some people.
right, right, makes sense. But for example, what strategies are you currently using to convert the online data into actual leads for your clients?
Yeah, it's a lot of it is, as I said, I came from a data science background, so storing and managing and manipulating data is, what I did before I was a ski instructor. And a lot of the time, those, you get your data stream in from the resort, from the valley. And for example, let's say they are a brand new skier, but they buy a ski pass. Immediately, the ski pass knows that there's someone in the valley. So you can use that data that's publicly available on the ski passes to, for example, prompt other schools, hey, you've got this many people in the resort. You can hire in maybe some extra instructors for next week. Maybe you need to, scale back a little bit, to avoid overspending on your instructors. So all of this data to help save, every penny matters for these guys, because, they only get 6 months of the year is with snow. So they have to have every single moment of those 6 months making money. Otherwise, it's not going to work. 10 years down the line, you're going to run out of money. So for them to be able to save any money, let alone quite a lot of money, with sort of optimizations based on, data in the valley. And I think that's something for us. It's quite important, keeping that in the valley sense of things, because, imagine every valley is a town or a city. You can't look at, over the valley to the next one. It's not relevant anymore. There's a big mountain in the way.
Yeah,
So
right.
to have the data applicable to each valley, and to have the instructors available and go, hey, Ted's available, go and book him. Or maybe, for example, Alexander, he wants a lesson. You can get prompted with an email, hey, you can book a lesson with us here. Something like that.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. And in your opinion, what advice would you give to businesses struggling to convert online leads into paying customers?
Well, for us in our sector, it was quite difficult, because a lot of the time we're speaking with, quite old ski boss owners, and they're lovely people, but it's quite difficult because they're not the most technologically, uh, they're not a very technologically active people. They don't know what Teams is. They don't use any, you know, online services. So for them, the big thing is to really build a friendship with these people, because as soon as you start getting word of mouth that's going, and you're good friends with your client, which I know in some areas of business like banking or whatever else, is you don't want to avoid that at all costs. But if you're working as a small startup, to get those initial customers, those initial ambassadors on your side as a friend, that will really help you down the line, because they're going to be there to talk good about you, to help spread the word in those areas. As I said, in the resorts, in the valleys, to have a good ambassador there is really important.
Yeah, yeah, right, right. And I often that innovative solutions face the initial skepticism. So when you talk to potential clients, what's the biggest misconception they typically have about what you do?
I think they think we are very expensive. Like, immediately they think to what our competitors do. So they think, oh, it's going to be expensive. It's going to take a long time. That they're looking at it a bit wrong, because we want to make clear that we're very, fast, very mobile, very agile. As I said before, we mold to what they want. So a lot of our competitors give maybe a big one package deal. You pay a lot of money, You get your package, and sure, it might work fantastic, but it's very expensive and maybe a one-off purchase. Whereas for us, we're going to be there helping you along the way. We're not going to leave you behind just because you've paid us. You're done now. No, we're going to be there to help you. We're going to help you if you need the technology assistance, or you're going to have the social media assistance, whatever you might need. That's part of our sort of pick and mix deal. That when you pay for a solution with Chus, you're going to get the support with it as well.
Yeah, okay. And now, looking at the broader industry, what key trends are you seeing emerge?
Well, I think the big trend at the moment, and I know it's the hot topic, is again that sort of technology of evolving with artificial intelligence, that we're getting so much startups, if you go back 5 years, would not have been able to produce the level of product that they've produced now with the assistance of artificial intelligence and agents. So I think that's the biggest change for these companies, and for us as well, is that you can operate almost as a much bigger team even if you have less employees.
Okay, yeah, it sounds like you're ahead of the curve in many ways. But for example, how are you looking to grow for the next year?
Well, I think the big thing for us as a company is just trying to get a little bit more presence in the industry. So, for example, maybe we need to uh, get more social media presence, or to get more, in the resort ambassadors, as I said before, to have those friends in the valley, to have that kind of ability. That's probably where we're going to head to next, to get the word of mouth going and to get more people aware of what we're doing.
Okay, and for example, if I gave you right now an extra $1 million for growth, where would you allocate it?
I think for the first part, we'd really have to evaluate where we would look to go with the money. But I think the biggest thing for us again would be to expand our team and to get a little bit more people on side, because I think the more eyes you have on a project, um, the more sort of different angles maybe you missed before with only a small team. With a little bit more, you might be able to have a bit more creativity with design approach and directions that you might go technology wise.
Okay, okay, that is fair. And before we wrap up, I'm curious about what's on the horizon. So, when you look at Shoe's digital solutions over the next few years, what possibilities excite you the most?
I think our biggest thing at the moment, and the most exciting thing for me, that gets me out of the bed in the morning, is our new product, which is the Shoes Club. And that is essentially for more towards the customer instead of towards the ski school manager. And that is a real gamification of the skiing process, which gives you, for example, maybe you've never been on, I don't know if you've skied before, but if you've been on a one-seater chairlift or a two-seater or a three-seater, you get points, and it's all linked to your ski pass, and it levels up your profile, and you can add your friends on there, and you can see a global leaderboard where you can see rankings of who has the most points. You can earn badges and achievements, and customize your profile. And we're trying to make sort of almost like a skiing social media, almost a video game style thing, but using your real world skiing data. And that can link nicely with the rest of our SHUS ecosystem by connecting, for example, if you are very high level on the SHUS club, you can immediately see, hey, as an instructor, this person has done a lot of skiing. So you can work into that into your lessons later on down the line, and you can really see, help out the instructors and help out the customers try and explore and enjoy skiing a lot more.
Okay, interesting. And for listeners who want to learn more or potentially work with Shoe's digital solutions, what's the best way to get in touch?
I think the best way to sort of get a really good in-depth explanation of what we're doing would be our website, which is shus.com, and for the club, it's shus.club. But for our, a bit more of a jolly, lightweight approach with a bit less detail and a bit less technical talk, I think our Instagram and TikTok pages will explain everything there as well.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So thanks for joining me today, Ted, and for this amazing podcast session. And for anyone listening, make sure to check out Shoes Digital Solutions socials below in the description, because this episode was packed with value, and I can't wait to see what you build next.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Perfect. See you in the next episode then.
Cheers.